Hello there. All right, so I promise after I get done telling the story about my hike and I go all the way back to Seattle, I will start going forward again and I will tell you all the cool stuff that happened. I'm going to start fading in some of the cool stuff right now because my hike, I actually had a badass time on top of all the psychic, all the psychic detective crap. But anyway, yeah, and I will teach you how to psychotexture your mind. I will teach you how to build a synthetic device that pushes your thoughts for self-hypnosis, and we will go into some theories on how to time travel, and I will show you some of my epic time travel, placing things in and out of time due to the mandala effect with my mind. Okay? And so I will give you valid proof that this is possible. And you guys are going to flip shit when you see how this is all done. And I will teach you how to do it. But just deal with me for another episode or two while I explain the rest of my hike. Just because it's part of my life and it's part of how I developed my mind. And I would like to share with you all this. Okay. So there's not really much more psychic detective work here, but there is an occurrence that goes back before my alchemy training, and I will go into that. I'm not going to go into much of what I got trained on in Seattle or in Oregon because that was all private information. But I will go into my personal development and what I developed from the information I was taught. Because this is my information. I don't give any other magician's information out. But I will gift you guys a training lesson of my information. All right, so I took a bus, and I'll go into the bus ride on the next episode. But I took a bus all the way from Seattle down to Pensacola, Florida. I decided to go to Pensacola, Florida, because when I was in Pensacola, Florida, I used to date a girl named Kat. And when I dated a girl named Kat, Kat with a K, she was a little trickster. She was a female that I ran away from base with when I was in the Marines. And when I was in the Marines and I ran away from base with her, it wasn't her fault, but that was one of the reasons why I got the boot out of the Marines. Now, because I ran away from base with her, I was placed into the brig while I was stationed in NAS Pensacola, the Naval Air Station there, which is 1 mile away from Quarry Station, which is also the intelligence base for all of the intelligence training base, and also an intelligence base for all of the government intelligence and all the branches. And the Blue Angels are also stationed there. I originally went to college to fly airplanes, so I like this. I was avionics electronics originally, and then in boot camp, a Fed came and interviewed me, and then they changed my They changed my MOS to air crew. So I was going to be air crew on like a CH-53 or like on like a Chinook or something like that. But I never made it that far. My schooling was backed up. It was like 6 months backed up. So I just got to hang out on base. There was a bar on base. We got paid. All I had to do was clean the barracks once a week, and we just partied. That's all we did. So I ended up getting in trouble and stuff because I was partying all the time. I ran away from base with a girl because that's it. Well, when I went to the brig, this Kate girl, I should have known better than to try to meet up with her, because this Cat girl, excuse me, Cat, not Kate, Cat. When I go to meet up with her, well, originally, this is what she did to me. When I'm in the brig, she told me she was pregnant with my child. And then she came in to visit me while I was in the brig. I gave her my debit card because why? Because she said she was pregnant with my fucking child, right? So now, not only that, but she shows me an ultrasound picture and she tells me it's twins and they're going to be due on 4/20. And my dumbass believes her. My gullible dumbass believes her. So I ended up getting out of the brig, and I ended up getting all pissed off at her. And once I got the boot out of the Marines, I ended up going out to California. But that's another story. You'll get that story too. But well, anyway, I lived out in San Diego as like a vagabond and shit out there. But that's interesting as well. So I show back up to Pensacola on a bus from Seattle. Kate Taggart was supposed to meet me there. I give her a call. I show up at like 12 o'clock at night off a bus, and she's like, "Where are you?" Like, "I'm at the airport." I'm like, "I'm at the bus station that you dropped me off at fucking 10 years ago, bitch." Right? She stands me up, and of course my phone dies. Like, I have like this shitty cell phone, right? So all night long, I didn't know what to do. I didn't have nowhere to go. I had a wheelie suitcase and myself and I. So I went to, where else is 24 hours? The awful fucking the Waffle House. So I went to Waffle House and chilled out there, and all I had was enough change in my pocket to like get some hash browns. So I got some smothered and covered hash browns with some cheese on it. And so, long story short, I got my cell phone charged, tried to contact her later, and she told me she was going to be at a bar. She's working at a bar that was an old veterans bar and an officers bar that the enlisted guys like me never went to. But so it was on Pensecola Island, and it was like 20 miles away. So the next day, I'm hanging out, waiting around, and the synthetic frequencies start to freak me out again. And so I get all freaked out. And I ended up messaging my sister-in-law, Dawn, right? My sister-in-law, Dawn, she's a Scottish woman, and she's married to my brother. And I started messaging her, telling her that I did all this weird mind shit, and I psychotextured my mind, and I've been doing all this stuff. I'm connected to string theory, hive mind, blah, blah, blah. It's probably going way over her head. She goes, I think you got hacked. That's what she tells me. I tell her I'm doing a project with MIT, with my mind, and of course she doesn't believe me or whatever. She probably thinks I'm fucking crazy. And then I start to calm down a little bit, and then all of a sudden a homeless guy comes up, and he's like, "Dude, you all right?" I got some weed, and he gives me a little roach, and I get to smoke a little weed, right? I'm calmed out. And then I'm just like hanging out and doing much. I go over to a church and I hide my wheelie bag suitcase behind a church sign with all my clothes in it. And I just pack a backpack because I'm like, I can't be toting this wheelie bag around no more. And now, Puddles Tristan, the guy I met up with in Nashville, he was finishing a hike, and he had a hiking backpack, he had a Carhartt and everything. And he's seen me and he's like, "Dude, you're going on a hike? And you only got a normal backpack?" He's like, "You're gonna need this shit." He goes, "Here, take this Carhartt." He gave me a copy of the Kabbalion, which is has the 7 hermetic principles on how to think, and how your mind flows, and how your body flows, and how thoughts move. I immediately understood it when I started reading it. It's a very, very, very good book for anyone who is who's interested in learning any of the hermetic principles or anything like that. I had this along with me my whole entire hike, and I gave it back to him at the end of the hike. Yes, because he met me in Nashville, and he was in Murfreesboro at my college town. How convenient, right? So me and him, he has a laptop, I have a laptop. He gives me a tie-dye. We chill out. We get a little fucked up together, I don't smoke cigarettes, but I have cigarettes for him. I have 2 cigarettes waiting for him. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't know how that happened. Then we're sitting there at McDonald's in Pensacola, right next to the Greyhound station, and his laptop's up, my laptop's up, and we start being controlled. Okay, I have a copy of I have a photocopy of the handwritten contract from Dion Moore of Northern Phoenix Group from Vancouver, Washington. I had done me and my friends had done $5,000 some worth of labor for him, processing 150 kilos of CBD isolate over a course of a week in Portland, Oregon. And we also had set up a new lab for him at a commercial lab and we never got paid for this stuff. And he had me draw out blueprints for a daisy-chained high pressure sodium, HPCL chromatography, so they could do THC remediations from CBD. These people were using me in my mind the whole time, stealing my ideas, and then they were keeping us living in a van, and they would, over like the course of a month, they would give us like a hotel room every now and then. This followed the same routines as like a whole bunch of other people out there who were just using us against our free will to use our minds and shit. We were very, very smart people. And look at, you see me? I just look like a street kid though, you know. I don't dress nice, you know. Like, so that it doesn't matter. Like they just literally just used us like rag dolls. Well, they start controlling us. And they have me rip up the contract, and I look at Puddles, and he doesn't know what's going on. We're both like kind of like shaking like this as they're controlling us. And I go, "What do you want? You want me to rip this contract up?" And they had me put the contract and rip it up into small little pieces and throw it out. Okay. So that was like a weird experience that Puddles witnessed with me, and his first name is Tristan. Well, anyway, so then I go and I start hiking down to Pensacola because it's starting to get dark. He leaves, he gets on a bus and goes back to Murfreesboro. His mom bought him a bus ticket, and I am on my journey. I have a backpack. I left all my clothes behind. I said, you know what, fuck this. I left all my clothes behind. I got like a cell phone that doesn't have cell phone service. I'm using like Google, and I'm using like Facebook to message people and stuff when I'm on free Wi-Fi, and I have an outlet I could plug into. I'm literally like out there, just out there having an adventure, you know. And yeah. And then where does this go? So I go to the bar that enlisted people don't usually go to, and there's all the officers and veterans there, and it's like a bar that's set up with multiple bars. So I keep going from one bar to another bar to another bar. It's like 3 bars in one, but they're all connected, and it's like, you know, and they have a stage, and they keep on singing happy birthday, and it's like a big party, and I feel like it's a party for me. Like, it's like really, really weird. And they keep on singing happy birthday over and over and over again, and I'm out there dancing on the dance floor. I'm out there, I'm like showing like chicks. I'm like, hey, how do you not spill your drink on the dance floor? Like this. And I flip my beer and catch it, and it wouldn't spill, and all sorts of weird, crazy shit. Like, I was being stupid. But well, anyway, so, hey, how's it going? So this goes into, so they play a bunch of tricks on me at the bar, and then after this, I leave the bar, and they have me, they were playing tricks on me with my sister-in-law's sister, right? And they told me it was like the bow tie butterfly wedding, which is like bogus and totally crap, like total fucking crap, right? But they told me that I was gonna marry her, and she married my brother, and I was gonna go to Germany, and my brother and her were gonna stay here, and we were gonna be magicians that like take over the world, which is totally bogus. But you know, that's what they were trying to like trick me into thinking. And they had me call her up on the phone and leave her a message and like propose to her. And I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, no crap. Really, really crazy, really stupid, right? Yeah, now she's happily married and she lives over in Germany and she's cool. But so anyway, so then I end up going on like this like 10-mile hike that Puddles suggested. Puddles says, hey, you need to hike over this bridge here, and then you need to go over this bridge, which is all military property, and then you need to camp here, and there's a nice little wooded area, and he directs me to like a swamp, like a marsh. I'm like, there ain't no way I'm sleeping here. It's like on the sand in the marsh, like in the middle of a fucking strip or an island, right? So I keep walking, and I camp outside of a donut shop, and I wake up and I get some donuts in the morning with some more change that I spanged. And then so I end up walking by a screen printing shop, and I just walked in it randomly, all dirtballed up, and I was like, dude, I need a job. And there's a dude in there smoking a cigar. He's like, you don't mind a cigar, huh? He's like, I got me and we got her. If you come in on Monday, I'll give you a job. Well, I never went back in. I ended up hiking to Navarre, Florida, which was the next town over, right? And I ended up sleeping in the woods that night. I used the tarp that Puddles gave me. I had a sleeping bag, and then I also I had his Carhartt, so it kept me warm. It was kind of cold. Well, I didn't want to. I had all my journals. I had a whole bunch of journals, and I wanted to mail them home to my mother before I started the hike. So I was going to sit outside in Spain and get $20 and send a flat rate box home. Okay, so I had a flat rate box packed up, and I come out of the woods, and there's like this alcoholic dude that's like a street kid, and he thinks I have a box of PBR, but it's just a flat rate box. He thinks I have a Pabst Blue Ribbon box of beer, but it's just a flat rate box from the post office that I have packed up, and I don't have money yet to mail it, so I'm carrying it around with me with a backpack. And he goes, dude, you want to like come over here and hang out and drink? I'm like, okay. So he takes me to this guy named Johnny Pitt's house. It's a homeless dude who's living in a trailer that has like barely electricity. He's running an electric cord over to it, right? And well, anyway, so I end up hanging out there. This guy is an old alcoholic. He gets harassed by the police all the time. I tried to use mentalist techniques to get him to stop drinking. It worked for a while, but he went right back to it. I was still new to all this, so I was trying to use my abilities and my knowledge to help him. But they didn't. He just wanted to keep drinking. So anyway. Over the course of staying there and everything, he was an old DJ. I wrote a whole bunch of journals, and this is where I spent like a month there, and he had like 2 other homeless friends that would come hang out, and we would just sit around and drink all day, and he taught me how, he planted some seeds on how to tie-dye. Puddles also taught me some techniques on how to tie-dye. My best friend, one of my best friends, what's his name, Andrew, who owns Blessed Minerals, he gave me this as a gift. That is rose quartz, aquamarine, and speckled tourmaline, okay, with a nar wrap right there. If you go on Facebook or if you go on Instagram and look up Blessed Minerals, he has some of the best gem collections ever. I suggest you go on there if you ever want any gems and check it out. It's like really fucking cool. He lives out in the mountains. He doesn't really, it's hard to get work out there. So this is what he does for a job. And I also gifted him my CBD information so he could start a CBD company, because I gave up my CBD company because my mother or my father wanted me to stop doing my CBD company. So I gave up my CBD company and I gifted him the information for it too. But he goes to the Tucson Gem Show every year, and he buys gems, and this is how he supports himself. So if you could go on and buy some gems off him, he would appreciate it. I know he would, because he lives in like a one-shop town, and like he doesn't have no work. But anyway, so I stayed there for like a month, and I got a hiking backpack at the flea market, all sorts of stuff, and then I ended up on my hike. But yeah, so that's my hike story. But yeah, so there you go. And then I'm gonna go into my bus ride after this one, there's an interesting things that happened on my bus ride, and then I'm not gonna go into any of my training, but I'll pull 1 or 2 pieces out of my training, because it's going to play into my 5D chess game that I am going to tell you how I played it, and it's going to prove that I can move things in and out of time, and I'm going to teach y'all how I developed more science on how to do it. And I'm going to teach y'all the science and gift y'all the science in my next coming episodes. So stay tuned. You're going to like it. All that psychic detective shit, that was because I wasn't going to put up with fucking crooked cops. If the cops are fucking making people crash their cars, if the cops are fucking putting me in jail and fucking tormenting me, I'm not going to fucking put up with it. That's why we did the psychic detective work, okay? It had nothing to do with my training, okay? My training was for me to be a magician because the government had put me in and out of jails my whole life, and I wanted a way to do something in my life with having a surname or with having a name that wasn't my name because my background is so fucking hanger. So I worked my ass off to get this information, and I worked my ass off to build my mind this way. And literally, Northampton County tried to do what they did in the movie A Beautiful Mind. They used me against my free will to work out complex ideas, and then they wiped my mind. And thank God, I believe MIT or someone out there put me on an identity memory system, and now they bring my thoughts back to me every time the law enforcement wipes them. So now I'm able to get my thoughts back because they keep on wiping my thoughts on me. And yeah, all you crooked law enforcement out there, we have you all. We know exactly who you are, and we will be filing charges on you. Every single one of you crooked law enforcement. And I'm gonna stop the video there. And from here on out, it's gonna start getting more fun. And I'm gonna start teaching magic. I'm gonna start teaching psychotecture. I'm gonna start teaching you how to build synthetic devices to assist your mind and mentally assist your mind. This is gonna be excellent. It's gonna be awesome. You guys are gonna love it, okay? But I have one more, I got my bus ride, and we'll go into my bus ride. And yes, I started designing things for Disney as well. I mean, it's just a hobby. It's just a badass hobby. Hey, do you guys know, fun fact, Mickey and Minnie have never officially been married. I started designing wedding plans for them. I don't know, weird shit. I know. I'm a weird, goofy person. I'm a goofy person, you know. So, all right, I'm gonna leave y'all with that. Peace.